How's it going, guys? We're back again today to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2, a game that I'm personally extremely excited for. I also have 2-6 with me, and we're going to be going over the Griffin fight that we got to do when we played the demo recently. So we've compiled together all of the different gameplay from our 6 minutes of exclusive gameplay that you may have seen on the channel, as well as the other videos out there, so you can see more of this fight. And we're going to talk over it and go over our experiences and what's kind of happening so you can get a better of an understanding of the gameplay and how things kind of work, because this fight was pretty epic. And 2-6, you were there next to me as we were playing this as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I gave the controller to Paradise because he's the one that's like played the original Dragon's Dogma. I was like, don't let me down. And he did me proud.
I really wanted to take this thing down, and as you'll see, we got super close. We got further than anyone else, but we'll go through everything as we sort of watch the gameplay. But I guess the first thing to say is we're playing the warrior, which should be obvious, but this was also a starting vocation in the first game. There is advanced vocations and obviously hybrid ones as well. And from what we were kind of told as we were playing, we're maybe not meant to be fighting this Griffin at this level in the game, especially not on a starting vocation. So this is sort of stands to be a very difficult boss fight, right?
Yeah. One thing I noticed about the gameplay is that the imbuements that the other characters give you just make your character's damage go wacky, so it's definitely advantageous to maybe have like a mage as like one of your pawns on the side, basically buffing you up.
Surprisingly, these buffs, these imbuements were in the first game.
Yeah.
And they were equally really good. So it kind of was almost standard to go with a mage as your pawn because they just have all the support focus things for you, which is really nice. But what I will say is Griffins are weak to fire in this. So that fire imbuement is going to be just popping off, which is why I think it's helping with damage quite so much. But even now, like you see, we put a decent amount of damage into it. We did a lot of hits and slashes, and it's only got a tiny bit of its health bar missing. This whole fight from start to
Wait,
we've had to cut it down.
Can you go back a bit? Because people pointed this out, and I didn't even notice this. But like Max getting absolutely yeeted is like the funniest thing. Watch. Yeah!
Wow, the ragdoll just off to the corner. You see my camera pan? It surprised me in the moment as it happened. I was like, wow, I haven't seen that before.
That is so funny.
Cool. And you know what? One thing I was really feeling here, because I don't usually play a warrior when I play Dragon's Dogma, is I just couldn't do anything while he's flying around. I'm just here on the floor blocking, just like, please land, come back down. Whereas if you play Strider in the first game, now that would be Archer, you could obviously still be shooting it with arrows, or if you're a mage, you could just be casting spells at it. So you are a bit more restricted on these kind of melee classes, but once it lands, then you really shine.
Yeah, this is where you were testing out all the different abilities and stuff as well, weren't you? Like trying to find out what you had. And
yeah, that's a really good point, because we didn't get a lot of time to play, right? And so we were jumping between the characters that we could play, so we could bring you guys like all of our thoughts, all the gameplay for the different classes, so you guys sort of would get what you want, basically. And what that meant is when I jumped on Warrior, you immediately spawned next to this Griffin, and we were just like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I had no idea what any of the buttons did or anything. And it's so satisfying when you ground them like that. What we sort of learnt, and I think this might have been in the first game, I can't remember exactly, but when they're grounded, if you do a heavy attack, you do like a massive chunk of damage, almost like a Dark Souls style hit on an enemy, you know, when they're staggered. And it's taken off. This was another thing as well. They told us that no one else managed to hang on while it flew away. So we were pretty happy that we managed to do this. But you see my stamina at the very bottom. And 2-6, this was, I think, even hard for you to see it as we were playing, because there's no real pop-ups.
You were like, oh yeah, I'm regenerating my stamina. I was like, I didn't even notice that was a thing.
That's the thing. This guy flies far across the map, and you can see my stamina is struggling a lot. So you do actually have a potion, both for your stamina and your health, but a limited amount, though. And so I was chugging these stamina potions. I could be wrong, but I think they showed at TGS that you can actually just sit on its back. But I was constantly holding the grab button here, which is why my stamina is draining. But I think you might be able to just release once you're actually on its back like this. But, you know, I didn't want to risk it. If I let go and died, we probably wouldn't have had enough time to try it again. So I was like, I'm just going to hold on for dear life.
At this point, I'm screaming at Paradise because I was like, the people that are looking after the Capcom representatives are like, there's an area that you just can't go to. I'm like, jump off the Griffin! Because if we went to that area, we wouldn't get the footage as well. So I was like, put it back!
That was it. You know, we're trying to... Also, I don't know any of this map or this area,
Yeah,
so I'm just looking around
though.
like, wow.
It's quite
And also
big.
like, yeah, don't show this area. And I'm like, oh god. It's so cool actually riding on it though, because I don't think you could actually really do this in the first game, so it's so cool that you could
What
just
is
properly fly
George?
away with it.
Hanging on to it. George is the real MVP.
I don't know, he's just under the wing.
He's just under the wing, all up in the Griffin's armpit.
Look, you see, oh, you see there, my stamina went really low and I just
Yeah.
chalked it back up. That was another stamina consumable. And what I realized is these stamina consumables are going to be massive in the actual game, because jumping onto a monster like I am and hitting it in a weak point or in its head is so good for just dealing damage and toppling that you are going to want to do this a lot. And as you can see here, you run out of stamina, you just can't move, and then you get hit really easily, and you have to just wait ages to recover. So if you have a ton of stamina potions, you got, you know, do some farming runs, you could probably just permanently stay on the Griffin's head, which is exactly what you want. But obviously on these sort of pre-made characters and stuff, we only had a few of each potion, and that really does show. And I can also say I was actually really loving the warrior here, because that block was so powerful. The amount of hits that I, you know, would have killed me, but I managed to block them. What was that noise? Did it?
That whole stun lock thing was so cool, where it made the noise as well. If you could go back and we could just like take
I think it was like hitting into the rock or something like that. Let's just go back a little bit.
So someone does basically
its health.
a flashbang
Whoa!
and then it stuns. Did this happen in the first game? Like, or you not remember if it happened in the first game?
If I'm being like, you did definitely like topple things, but I
Yeah.
can't really remember the specifics. It was a while ago.
So that was cool.
Oh, I've got something to say here. So you see how I like ran on its head? Because of this, I couldn't trigger the proper like impale. Like I'm trying it. You can see I'm doing heavy attack after heavy attack, and it's not doing the
Felt
more...
like you got more damage as a result though, rather than going for the straight
Maybe.
impale.
There's definitely a thing where you want to get hits in and then impale before the stagger ends, and that would be optimal. But not getting that proper impale, I think.
This
isn't
was
great.
the biggest plot twist, that there was two Griffins, and we're like, wow.
So the people, the representatives there had not seen this before. They didn't even know there could be two Griffins that come in. You know, it's in a Griffin nest, I guess, so it's like
It makes sense.
husband and wife
Yeah.
Griffin over here. But this was nuts, because I don't remember ever fighting like two of these Griffins or two giant monsters at once in the first game. Like maybe in some areas of Dark Arisen, which was like added to Dragon's Dogma later on, it was like a very high-end late-game dungeon-esque area. But seeing two like this and one just come in, especially as we're getting it to its last health bar, and bear in mind this fight was like 20 minutes. So we're like, what, I don't know, 15 minutes in at this point maybe. I'm tired, I'm running out of healing potions, and then another Griffin with full health flies in. I was just like, oh
It's
no.
over.
Because I felt like I had it until the other Griffin came in as well.
This one's tired, he's
yeah, and
exhausted.
That's it, like there's so many small details across a fight. Like I actually forgot about some of these details, so yeah, he's like definitely exhausted. You can see it's like drooling.
He's just like, I am out.
Well, that's the thing. I can't remember if we made it into the actual gameplay here or not, but at one point, the weaker Griffin here actually just flew away for a couple minutes. And so then I had to switch and just start killing the full health Griffin, hoping that the other one would come back so I could finish it off. And it did come back. But gosh, it was like a fight of endurance and a half.
The most
to
dangerous
just
thing about it
stay
was
alive.
that the other Griffin was casting like the electrical, like that basically, on top of
That
you as
ruins me.
well.
Yeah, so the first... That's a good point, actually. The first Griffin here wasn't doing any magic against us.
Yeah,
But as soon as this other one came
a few
in...
spells, but not as much as the other one.
Yeah. But the other one came in and it was just constant AoE lightning spam, and you couldn't block it. Like, that would just delete you, and that's how I pretty much lost all my health potions. And that's another thing as well. That AoE lightning that he does would hit me even if I was grabbed onto the Griffin. Like, so if it went underneath me, it would still connect to me and ruin me. Look how low health it is. At this point, I'm just sweating. Like, I'm nervous. I'm like, I can do it, but also, can I do it? Like, look at these AoEs. Oh, and then, oh, that's right. Yeah. So then our pawns started to get killed by the AoEs.
It was over.
And you can... Yeah, you can revive them by going up to them and interacting with them, but you have to stay still for, you know, a good couple seconds. And like you see here, I'm trying and I'm just getting clobbered, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. It's not worth it. It's so cool just seeing these Griffins fly around. And also, the Griffin was one of like the iconic monsters from the first game, one of the first real big monsters that you encounter.
Yeah.
It was like outside of the main city that you travel to. And usually it flies away, you don't get to kill it, so... They're just pouncing. I just see my panic block. Constant panic block. That's another thing as well. Some people were asking that there isn't a lock on, but when you block, you do sort of stabilize in one direction. So while you can't just straight up lock on, you can sort of constantly face the enemy.
You got George back up. He's back in the fight. So this is when the other one like flew off, and it was like we're just waiting for it to come back, and you'll fight the one with full health, which was kind of
true. And that bubble is a healing bubble that Max, the mage, put down, but it only heals you the grey health, not your actually green health. So if I just go back a minute, you can see he does this nice healing. I'm like, oh, that's great because I'm around half health, but unfortunately, it only heals like the damaged portion of your health. So. Not the most useful spell there, Max, in this in this moment. But that is pretty much the whole Griffin fight. We got it super low. I was a little traumatized that we didn't get it, but the fact that we were surprising everyone there and that no one had seen, you know, the two Griffins and even just ridden on its back, like we were pretty happy with it, weren't we?
Yeah, we can't show you the footage of the full fight, but that's like the gist of like the actual fight that we went through. I think the full fight was like 23 minutes or something. The starting bit was a lot longer of you like chopping down and kind of testing out the skills. The flight was like the main part that we kind of wanted to show you guys off, and then in the actual nest there was just it was just chaos and havoc, as you can see, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I just want to quickly say, I can't remember if we actually saw it anywhere here, but there were some astute viewers in the comments that was saying they noticed a port crystal in this nest as one of these things on the floor. And what that is from the first game is basically you put it down anywhere on the map and it's a fast travel point to that spot. So they're really good. Because initially in the very first release of Dragon's Dogma, fast traveling was... I can't remember if it didn't exist or I think it just didn't... I think there just wasn't fast traveling. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And then later on they added in items that allowed you to fast travel to specific spots like the port crystal. I think I'm remembering that correct, or something like that anyway. But what it means is when the game is out, you're going to want to ride this Griffin to get that port stone, because that's going to be super handy to actually have.
There was a bunch of gold
but that's pretty...
as well, like that you could pick up as well, so seems like...
That's it, you were telling me, pick up the items, and I was too shook with the fight to even be able to go near them.
I was hoping that there would be like some secret weapon or something that you could pick up and grab. Or some rare item.
But that's pretty much it. That was the fight. This was obviously the biggest chunk that we could play on the warrior, because we then did go on to play the thief and the archer, which were also really fun in their own right. Interesting again that they split the strider into two separate ones, and I'm really interested to see what the advanced vocations for that will be. But we will have more Dragon's Dogma coming for you guys on the channel soon, and of course we'll have you covered when it comes out. I'm so excited to play this and learn what all the different new vocations and just powerful stuff is in the game. So that's pretty much it, right, 2-6?
Yeah, that's it.
All right then, guys, check out the two videos on the screen now if you haven't already. We have so much videos coming your way soon and already on the channel, so definitely check them out. And make sure to tell us what you think after watching them in the comments down below.
Bye-bye.